Hey, hello everyone. Welcome to TMI, Too Much Information with Moondog, and I'm glad to be back. Sorry for everyone for that I wasn't able to be live with you last week. I tried, but I just found that I just couldn't get a fast enough connection where it was, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Is where I was Arizona, northern Arizona, near excuse me, near the Grand Canyon. And if you saw the photo that I posted announcing a little bit late that I would not be able to do the live stream, that was from the meteor crater, the Great Meteor Crater over there, also in northern Arizona, a little closer to the New Mexico border. But I tried. I was trying to see if the connection, the Wi-Fi was fast enough over at the hotel, the La Quinta that I was at in Williams, and but nope, it wasn't there. And then just being out in the middle of nowhere, the cell towers weren't any better, so I decided to bag it rather than have it be a little choppy or what have you. But I neglected to. I thought I'd hit the send button on the notification, but I had not. So that's on me. Sorry for if those of you might have tuned in wondering what was going on, and for the lack of notice about that. All right, folks. Glad to see everybody on the side chat already. And as usual, before we get started, I just wanted to plug this episode's sponsor. And our primary sponsors are Venice, which is the AI that I choose to use. And unlike all the other AIs, the chatbots out there, your chat GPTs, even Grok or Gemini or what have you, well, all of those AI tools that many of us use, well, one of the things about them is that they store all of our information on their servers, all of the prompts that we ask it, and as well as all the results that gets stored on their server. In fact, if you look at the terms of usage, the agreements that you sort of click through, it says that they are allowed to store all that information. Now, nominally, it's because they're saying, well, it helps them develop their large language models and their AI, and also it helps to have a history of your contact with them, so that it can answer questions and sort of follow up questions and give you better results. Except that all of that information that you've given it, things that you may not necessarily want other people to know that you asked it, well, they keep all of that information. There is one standout, and that is Venice.ai. And Venice actually uses a lot of the same tools, the chatbots out there, but they also have their own. And you can select those different options of other chatbots you can use, but they, in a sense, act as a proxy for you, so that all of the query information, all the results, and all of the prompts, all that data gets stored on your browser instead of their servers. So you can delete that if you ever need to or ever want to. But also, if you're using any of those other chatbots through them, well, that doesn't come back to you. That doesn't that sort of those little cookies and digital footprints don't come back to you. It stops at Venice. So all those queries look to those servers like it's coming from Venice and not from you. So that's another advantage of using Venice.ai. There's a QR code there. Try them out for free. Go to venice.ai/moondog. And if you like it, you can get 20% off of their pro plan using code Moondog. So try them out. And our other sponsor, and one of my favorite sponsors, Mad Hat Jerky. We've had Matt on the show in the past, and Mad Hat Jerky is very clean. It's a homemade beef jerky that he created himself. Young man, when he was 11 years old. Now he's like 19 now, but it's delicious jerky. And he's given jerky away for me to give away as prizes in the past. So I think it's great jerky. And if you use my code Moondog, and there's a QR code there, if you use code Moondog, you get 15% off any purchase. It's great stuff. It's such a wide variety of flavors. Try them out. Mad Hat Jerky. I love the stuff. All right. So this is our early bird clue here. And what this is the contest today. It's going to be a live contest. So place a hashtag and place your answer there. The prize today is going to be from ClipTech, which I've mentioned in the past, and I'll give you a QR code if you want to get a discount for ClipTech's stuff. But this is some really good CLP cleaning wipes. They're pre-moistened with CLP, with their CLP, but these are really high density materials that are like, wet wipes, but these are even higher density, so that it really picks up fouling and carbon buildup and particles and just traps it in there. And you'll get a sampler pack of the is it 2x2 or 1x1? You'll get the 2x2 and the 4x4, and you'll get the I'm going to actually give away 2 today. So if you have the right answer, here's your visual clue here. This is an iced tea brand. If you know which brand this is, place it, put a hashtag Arizona on the side chat, and we'll be drawing the winner at the end of the show. So there you go. You can get a chance to win a sampler pack of the ClipTech wipes. Okay. So let's get into some of the videos that I posted last week, and one of them is one of them is a review of a 6-24 budget long-range ED glass scope from Quilifer, and I've reviewed their other scopes in the past, and surprisingly good for a budget scope. And as far as ED glass goes, actually, it looks legit. It's got fairly low chromatic aberration, and it's not super expensive, and it seems pretty well built. So here's a little sample of one of the videos. So of course, whenever you're buying a budget scope, you're always wondering, is it really going to be any good? And one of the tests, of course, is how well it tracks, how well it can return, how well the turrets track, as far as, does each click mean will each click be accurate? And one of the tests for that, or at least one of the ways you can test how well built a scope is do a box test. Well, that means you click a set number or a set number or set rotation on the scope, and then you bring it back to 0. Does it come back to the same position? And well, one of my buddies, and many of you know him, Cyclops Joe, created a test that's even more exacting and even more of an abuse test than a typical box test. And he has his nipple twister. So often, with a good quality scope, it'll come back to 0, no matter how many times you turn the turret. But I've had some cheap airsoft grade scopes in the past. It's becoming less and less common, but even some budget scopes from some decent brands, they won't exactly come back to its original position after you've turned it like crazy. Well, let's see if this one passes muster. All right, let's do our nipple twister test, coined by my buddy Cyclops Joe. I'm going to just turn the heck out of these turrets for a good 20-30 seconds, and we're going to see if this will go back to its original starting location when I dial these back to 0. So let's start with our elevation and bring that back to 0. And now our windage. And we're pretty much right there. So I was surprised it did. And, granted, sometimes they'll be a little bit off. And part of it is the bench that I'm on. They're not cement benches, so they're metal, they're steel, but there's always a little bit of give. So, but this one looked like it went exactly back to its original point, and anything close to that, I would say is definitely passing muster for a budget scope. Surprisingly, it did. I didn't have any problems with it coming back to 0 after that nipple twister test. So yeah. And by the way, right now, and you'll find out later in the show when I talk about the contest, you have a chance to win an Quilifer scope. So stay tuned for the end of the show. I'll give you details about that contest. All right, so that's what I posted on my Moondog 2A channel and the Moondog Reviews channel, where I like to review stuff. This one is not an EDC knife, not a binoculars. This is a budget, cheap set of desk lamps. These are clip-on desk lamps, and they work surprisingly well. What's interesting about these lamps, not only do they have these articulating bendy stems or arms on them, and they're relatively bright, but they are USB powered. I mean, you plug in a USB cable and you can power them that way. But they also came with 18650, the big lithium batteries inside of them. So they're actually rechargeable batteries. You can remove them, and I'm using them in my son's room. He needed some desk lamps, for his desk. So I got these, and I just did a test on them, and they work really, really well. And they came in a set of 2, so it's a really good deal. I won't belabor doing a video about that, but if you'd like to see that video, go to my Moondog Reviews channel to see the videos on these Miyati. I've never heard of that brand. These are very inexpensive, clip-on, and you can take them camping or whatnot because they do have built-in batteries. Though I would recommend, if you're going to be using them as a desk lamp, like he is, or my son is, or we are, I would recommend just taking out those lithium batteries if you're planning on using them all the time. I mean, just for safety reasons, there's no real reason to have lithium rechargeable batteries in your room, I don't think. I mean, granted, for emergency purposes. So it's another reason why those are actually pretty good. You could use them as a camping light or as an emergency light. But I would personally, I would leave rechargeable lithium batteries out of the mix unless you absolutely think you need to, just from it's just safety standpoint. But I'm sure they'd be fine. But I decided to take mine out. All right, so, and on my Moondog Go channel, I posted a time lapse of my trip. A few weeks ago, I went to Monterey, California, and Carmel and Big Sur. Well, this is the trip back from Big Sur through to San Jose. We decided to take a stop over in San Jose for dinner, and it's about from there is about an hour and a half, 2-hour drive, and it was a little bit of traffic, but it wasn't too bad. And I'll give you just a little taste of that if you want to see a bit of the time lapse here. It's not the complete time lapse. It's really just the coastal part coming back from Big Sur. So here we are driving through the beaches just south of Carmel, Point Lobos. So technically it's Carmel. Fun fact, that Point Lobos area is where they filmed the house in Basic Instinct, the really expensive bougie house that Sharon Stone lived in. And we are driving through Monterey and going north towards Santa Cruz along the coast, along Monterey Bay. There's Watsonville, about halfway to Santa Cruz, right at that point. Fun fact, also, Watsonville, I think, is the largest producer of artichokes in the country. You could double check on that, but I think I saw that sign somewhere or whatnot. But there were a lot of artichokes fields over in Watsonville. And okay, so that is what I posted on Moondog Go. So I invite you to check out that. And speaking of trips, let's get into it. But let me give you another clue for the name the brand contest. So we're talking about iced tea brands. Well, this iced tea brand is named after a Southwestern state, but it was actually founded in Brooklyn, Brooklyn, New York. Yes. It was founded in Brooklyn, New York in the very early 1990s. I think it was 1990, actually. And its corporate headquarters are actually I believe in Long Island. But it's definitely New York. I think it's Long Island. But it has nothing to do with the state that bears its name. Funny enough, the person who founded this brand saw the success of Snapple, and this was like really early 90s. Snapple had just become huge in the drink market, something like really cutting away into both Coke and Pepsi. It was just really a hot brand. And he said, "Hey, I could do this. I can make a juice and iced tea brand. I want to get a little bit of that action." And so he did. So he created a competitive brand, just named it for the Southwestern state because he thought, he wants someplace hot where you drink iced tea. So he named it after this state. Okay, if you know which state this is or which the brand of iced tea this is, put it in the side chat with a hashtag, and the software will automatically bring you into the drawing. So, okay. So Kanai Don said, "I'd rather have a Long Island." Long Island iced tea is actually very nice. Yeah, true, very true. Okay, so down the rabbit hole, we're talking about my trip to Arizona, and just give a little background, a little bit of information, which I like to give. It's TMI. What's what TMI means. Arizona is the 48th state in the union, preceding Alaska and Hawaii, and is also the 6th largest state by size, physical size, and the 14th largest by population. Surprisingly, its capital, Phoenix, is the 5th largest city in the country. I didn't know this. So yeah, here's a fun little trivia here. What are the 4 larger cities than Phoenix? If you guys can name it on the side chat. What is if you can name the 4th largest city? So the first one, I'll give it to you. I'll give the first 3 to you. So the first one is New York City. Second one is Los Angeles. Third one is Chicago. So what is the 4th largest city in the United States? And then the 5th is Phoenix. So we actually flew into Phoenix, and Phoenix is a very much of a desert city. It's located in a desert plain next to 2 sets of essentially mountains, but it's the desert, so there wasn't any snow there, but there would be reasonably high mountains. And Phoenix, to me, reminds me, when you're driving around the actual city, it reminds me a lot of Southern California, where I grew up in. I got some weird flashbacks of driving around the San Fernando Valley in some of the streets over there. But it's not a terribly large city. But it does sprawl quite a bit. You can see it as you're flying in. But we didn't spend a lot of time in Phoenix. Got to visit one of my friends and one of my SHOT Show crew members there. But we drove immediately after we landed, and after rush hour, we drove up to Williams, which is in northern Arizona, and that is the gateway to the Grand Canyon. And I don't know if how many folks out there on the side chat have been to Arizona or the Grand Canyon, and that would be interesting to know if you guys have been there. It was about a 3-hour drive from Phoenix, and it wasn't a lot of traffic, or at least it wasn't too bad once we got past the rush hour in the city. But once we got towards heading towards Sedona and Prescott, it was mostly like 2-lane highways on the drive up. Interestingly, too, I think by the time we got to Prescott, it was past sunset, but we could see a little bit of just a red glow on the horizon. And then I saw this, what I thought was a weird set of a road in this on a hillside, but as it turns out, it was a rocket launch. It was the trail of the rocket plume of the rocket being lit up by the sun that was already below the horizon. Probably a launch from Vandenberg, probably a SpaceX launch. They're putting the satellites up, I'm guessing. I don't know. Or maybe it was a spy satellite because of what's going on in the Straits of Hormuz and the Persian Gulf. I don't know, but it was definitely a launch, a rocket launch. But it was kind of cool to see that on the drive up to the Grand Canyon. And let me see here. We got a comment from Pick here. He's been to Tucson for a gem show a long time ago. Yeah, Tucson's pretty far south on in Arizona. I've never been. I saw there was a pretty cool um, uh, museum there for classic airplanes, and there is a very large aircraft military aircraft graveyard there. But there's a really cool military aircraft museum as well as a vehicle museum in Tucson. I'd love to go one of these days, but it is a bit of out of the way. It's a commitment. I could probably just go to Phoenix. It's south and east of Phoenix, so that's also on my sort of secondary bucket list to go check out that museum. But so I went up to Arizona to really to take my family to the Grand Canyon because the kids have never gone, and they were really blown away. I mean, you can't prepare for going to the Grand Canyon. You can. I grew up watching, seeing pictures of the Grand Canyon, of course, and seeing simulations of it at Disneyland, on the railroad, the Disney Railroad, and of course watching the Brady Bunch going to the Grand Canyon. So I knew everybody, you grow up knowing about the Grand Canyon, but you can't prepare for the actual experience of being at the rim and seeing just this expanse that just goes on forever, and so deep and so wide. There's just no words for it. And the reason I've always, that's one of the sort of seminal moments in when I was growing up. The first time I ever went to the Grand Canyon, I was probably about 10 years old. I went with my mother and my uncle. He drove us in a little yellow AMC Gremlin. So that's how we drove out there from Los Angeles. I still remember that trip quite fondly. And yeah, being in the back of that Gremlin, man, no air conditioning. I don't remember. I don't think he had air conditioning, but that, and it stuck by me. And I think I've been to the Grand Canyon a total of 4 times now, which is way more than I expect. A lot of people have never been, and it should be on your bucket list if you've never been there. Again, like I said, it's one of those experiences that you just can't describe. And it certainly is just going there once is a once in a lifetime trip. I'm very blessed to have been this being the 4th one. And the reason I also want to bring this up a little bit is because the last time I was there was I brought my wife and my in-laws there on a road trip. But the second time I was there was actually on my first job assignment. I shot a commercial in the Grand Canyon, or at least in Arizona. And that's one of the things I wanted to share with you today. A little bit too much information. Pick says, I've never seen, I never see Gremlins anymore. It's been like 25 years. I know AMC, I'm guessing they weren't super popular cars to begin with. I mean, compared to Pintos. And you could correct me here. Maybe they just weren't as reliable, or at least in terms of long-term drivability. They certainly were odd-looking cars, but I always loved the little Gremlin logo on that vehicle when I was a kid. They're kind of fugly, to be perfectly honest, I think. Rare as Pintos in Vegas, yeah. So I wanted to share this little photo here, if you can see this on the stage here. So that's me at the Grand Canyon on the top left, and that was last week. And below that is me about 32 years ago from the photo above. That was me there. We were there for a commercial shoot for Olympus cameras, and it was my first commercial that I ever created. And when I was working at DDB in New York, Doyle Dane Bernbach is the name of the advertising agency, and Olympus cameras was one of our clients. And the photo on the right, top right, are 3 girls that we cast actually in I think in Phoenix, and we filmed this commercial at this house. I think it was near Flagstaff or Sedona. We shot 2 commercials while we're in Arizona. One having to do with a family that was going to the Grand Canyon, and the other commercial had nothing to do with Arizona per se. it was just a bunch of vignettes of life, and the whole campaign for the commercials was never miss another O. O for Olympus being, and to sort of to economize what we did for the budget, because it was a location shoot, and shooting on location is always a little more expensive than shooting on a soundstage, either in New York or especially in Los Angeles. To offset the budget, and so that we could shoot more than one commercial, we actually shot this commercial to look like Anywhere USA, but we actually shot it all in Arizona while we're part of filming the Grand Canyon commercial. So I'll actually share with you this commercial that I did a while back. The quality is not great because actually I don't have a digital copy of it. I still have it on tape. This commercial on Pro Beta is what and it's all analog. But I found this commercial online. Somebody posted it up on a YouTube channel. But here is, and I've got a link to the commercial here. But here is the commercial that I filmed.
Never miss a good piece of gossip.
Those are the three girls that you saw in that photo.
Look for hope everywhere. Know that work is good, and labor is even better. And always have an easy-to-use Olympus stylus zoom camera with you, so that you can capture the moments to embarrass your kids for the rest of their lives. Olympus, never miss another O.
So that was my first commercial. Shot in Arizona, in a small town somewhere between the Grand Canyon and Phoenix. And we actually shot the entire commercial at one house. So all those different scenes were all shot in that house. That scene where it was supposed to be like a doctor, a woman delivering in a hospital, was actually shot upstairs and in one of the bedrooms. And the doctor was actually, I think, either in a den or one of the other bathrooms. And of course, the two boys in the tub were shot in a tub in that same house. And then the girls were the three girls on the porch was shot on the porch of that house. So that's what that's part of trying to economize, trying to get as much money out of and try to spend as little money to create a commercial. We managed to shoot all of that, and hopefully you guys feel like looks like it was shot in different places. But hopefully you guys got that. But that was part of the trip to Arizona. And one other thing I want to share with you is that one of these days, if I ever get a chance to, I'll transfer that tape digitally. But the second commercial that we shot was supposed to be a family. It was a commercial that ran in that campaign. It was a family that was out going on a family trip to the Grand Canyon. We actually did not end up filming that in the Grand Canyon because of a little incident that we got into with some residents in Navajo country, because we had to drive through back roads to get over to the Grand Canyon. And we drove through, I guess some people's property in Navajo, in the Navajo reservation. And we had permits, but apparently nobody contacted the residents of those farms out there in Navajo country. And they were not pleased to have all these trucks driving through the roads. I mean, I don't know the whole technicality of it, but yeah, they basically blocked off this dirt road and wouldn't let our vehicles through. So we didn't end up filming technically in the Grand Canyon. We ended up filming in another state park that's adjacent, sort of one of the branches of the Grand Canyon. But it looked enough like the Grand Canyon, and just the things that you do with camera work. If it was shot today, we'd probably do it all with AI or something, CGI. But back then it was all analog to film it. But we did film it in Arizona, and we did film the other parts of the commercial in Sedona, and so yeah, it was authentic, it was real, but it just wasn't in the Grand Canyon. All right, so that's my little story of that trip. Oh, I also went, as you saw in the photo, I also went to the meteor crater. And I hadn't been there since I was a kid. If you get a chance to, if you have the time, go check out the meteor crater too. It's the most perfectly well preserved meteor crater in the world. It's a huge hole. It's a mile wide. So it's also breathtaking by itself, but I would actually suggest going to see the meteor crater first before seeing the Grand Canyon, because it's a little bit of, um, you know, it kind of steals the show if you go to the Grand Canyon because it's so much bigger. But the meteor crater is huge, and the information center museum there is actually pretty nice, way nicer than when I was 10 years old. I don't think there was anything like a movie and exhibits and anything there that was noteworthy, at least in my memory, because I don't really remember much of the crater other than it was a big hole. It was cool though, and the Apollo astronauts trained there, so it was pretty darn cool. All right, folks, we are getting towards the end of the show, and I'm trying to see. I'm trying to keep these shows now a little bit shorter. Let me know in the side chat in the comments if you prefer it longer or prefer these shorter ones. But the shorter ones are perfectly fine. It probably keeps me from blathering on too much. But maybe you like that. I don't know. Let me know whether you prefer the longer format shows or the shorter format shows. I'd like to know. But since we're at the end of the half hour, let's get into the contest. Okay. So also want to let you know that Anarchy Outdoors, who were on the show, I think was it 3 weeks ago, they're offering a 5% discount now if you use Moondog 2A as a coupon code. There's a QR there that'll take you to the Anarchy Outdoors website. They make a ton of cool products, especially if you have a bolt action rifle. A lot of accessories and upgrades for your Remington, Ruger, CZ, and Savage. Great stuff, and really cool design stuff, and high quality. So check them out. Anarchy Outdoors, get 5% off using code Moondog2A. And as our prize, as I mentioned on, let me just show you this. I'm giving away these Clip Tech wipes here. And if you'd like to get some, you can get 10% off using code also Moondog2A, but at ClipTech's website. And if you use the QR code there, that'll take you there to clip with a 1 for the I, cliptech.com. Get 10% off, use code Moondog2A. And I'd like to thank ClipTech for supplying the prizes for today's giveaway. And let's get into that. So here's the final clue for the giveaway. This iced tea brand is known for its 99-cent 22 tall cans, and their most popular products are their ginseng honey green tea and Arnold Palmer lemonade iced tea. And there's a whole video as to one of their few beverage brands out there that still are only charging 99 cents. Like one of their things is that they don't ever want their products to be more than 99 cents. Which in this day and age, especially with inflation, I got to hand it to them. Great job for doing that. So if you know the answer to this, put it in a hashtag, put it in the side chat, and you'll be automatically picked up for the drawing. All right. So there's 2 contests that are going on right now at moondogindustries.com/contest. One is I'm giving away an Aquilifire scope, and the other is a CV Life laser bore sighter that I've also reviewed recently. So there's 2 contests going on. Enter both contests. They're absolutely free. Go to moondogindustries.com/contest for that. All right, folks, let me bring this up here, the giveaway, and then you got a few seconds to get your answer in. But let me share the screen here, and let's do this giveaway. And where's the contest? There we are. Nope, that's not it. Oh dear. Where is that? Okay. I'm sorry, guys. I have to restart the contest. Hold on. Give me a second here. I don't know why the window closed. That's my bad. That's absolutely my bad. I'm sorry. So for everybody, okay, it didn't go away. The entries are there, still there. Whew. I was a little worried there. Okay, we got 6 entries. For everybody else, you got your last chance to take part in this giveaway. I'm gonna pull the entries now. I'm gonna give away 2. So let's draw the first winner. And that first winner is going to be William Trax. Congratulations. All right. And our second winner is going to be, let's see who's it going to be, and it's going to be Tim Mooney. Congratulations, Tim. All right, so for both of you guys, send me your name. Send me your address and put in the name of the brand in the subject line for me, and send it to contest@moondogindustries.com. And as an extra bonus for those of you who didn't win, if you the first correct entry with the hashtag, if you send it to as an email and say that you with the correct entry in the subject line, and say that you want to win, and put it in your address, your mailing address, in the subject line. The first one I get that isn't Tim Mooney and that isn't William Trax at Moondog, at contest@moondogindustries.com, will win the contest. Okay, folks, thanks for tuning in. And if you like the show, hit that like button. And if you like a longer show, or if you like the shorter show, let me know in the comments. I really do appreciate all of your input. So thanks for watching, folks. And thanks to ClipTech for supplying the prizes. Tune in next week. We'll have more prizes. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. God bless. Moondog out. Hey, I'd like to know what you thought of this video. Leave me a comment or chat with me on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, MeWe, Instagram, or Locals. And if you want to see all of my videos, go to moondogindustries.com.